So Zan, I have a particularly good question today from an astute reader or viewer or member of our community. I won't say who it is, but this is somebody who has picked up on a discrepancy between your view and my view, or at least between some of the things that we've said.
That's funny.
So I want to repeat the phrase that you have made in your book to you, possibly for some clarification. And then I'm going to share a couple of statements of my own, which seem to contradict that view. So you have said that, or you have written that every passionate relationship began passionately. There is no other way. In every single one of the long-term, loving relationships I have experienced, oh joyous remembrance, we were intimate on the very first night, every single one.
Yep, I stand by that. I think so, yep. What? Been my experience. I don't know. Do you want me to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I can, and then I'll come in and I'll actually read out what I wrote in one of the posts of my movie course in my masterclass. Okay.
Yeah, do
okay.
First.
So this is the thing that I got pulled up on. And let's see now. I wrote, I tend to believe that great loves don't follow on from one night stands. I've come to observe that having sex too early or too late can derail the process of love. One must have it at kairos, at the correct time, and be honest about what that is. Premature fulfillment or satisfaction takes the edge out of the polarity, the separation and its yearning that draws two people so deeply together. I'm happy to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your elaboration, then I'll say mine.
Sure.
Speak to that a bit. Is it from your experience? Or your intuition?
Yeah,
or
for sure. For sure. I think, I mean, I do sense that there is a purity in your view, and it's something I have also experienced. I also know, surely in practice, and this is my experience in working with men on this for about 14 years, that the mind and the heart and the psyche, I sense, typically romanticizes things, becomes seduced, blows up the possibility of a particular love affair much more greatly if there is an obstacle involved. And the obstacle can be time, space, or her resistance, her saying no. It could just be flat out unavailability. But from what I've seen, men tend to get wrapped up much more, whether this is healthy or unhealthy, when the satisfaction is actually prolonged and that seduction actually becomes a journey that takes its time to unravel. I've also, I see the way you're wincing.
No, I'm not wincing. I'm just
something in your eye.
Yeah.
On the other side of the street, what's really, really clear to me is the number of men who will get physical with somebody on the first night, and their interest wanes immediately to the point of virtually disvaluing the night shared together,
Which is
and
the fear.
heading back out. Yeah, or maybe not, or heading back out on some sort of perennial conquest where I always want the bird in the bush rather than the one that I have in the hand. So, I mean, I have experienced something on your side of the fence here on what you're saying. And I get that there's something in that, but more often than not, I'm also standing by what I said. Yeah.
Well, okay. For me, that doesn't work. And just let me just kind of like describe this in a circumspect way. So you're saying that the tension is prolonged the buildup is more pronounced, and the ultimate culmination then is more robust and more meaningful and more full of passion and intent.
It's almost like the elastic band of
Yes.
tension, frustration, polarity, and desire becomes so taut that when it's released, actually the velocity of the rubber as it flies across the room is it just goes a lot further.
I imagine most guys are aligned with what you're saying in your camp. And I'm a different type of soul. And I'll explain how. My love language is physical touch. And to me, that full force expression of intimate energy is like, I wrote in there, for me, like, other men will most likely relate to you and what you're saying, and is very valid what you're saying. So I'm not saying there's a better way. For me, I take life by the horns. I'm excited about potentiality. In the past, when I've met a woman, I'm delighted. And I've talked about how there is no stages in my method, where everything, the comfort stage, the seduction stage, the get to know you stage, the rapport stage, the sexual stage is all surmounted in the first minute or two, just by this, wow, who are you? And it's like, let's dance. And I wrote, and I really do believe this. This is like really a kind of a controversial thing to say. I don't trust a woman that wouldn't sleep with me on the first night. Like, what? She's not full of the energy of the shortness and the brevity and the magnificence and the curiosity of life, like I am. Because I want to be delighted. I don't want to convince anybody. I don't want last minute resistance. I don't want to. My spirit is that I want everything, and I want to take her by the hand and run through the fields now. Let's go. You look at you. That's my kind of my tone and my spirit, and it just feels like I just kind of like what like. Now it might not physically happen, but that's not the point. The point is that I know that she's aligned with me, and she would immediately get together with me if possible. Now, allowing for morals and religion and this kind of stuff, obviously, right? But I believe like I believe like King David. Let's go, So let me just flesh this out a little bit here. I'm just trying to remember of my past love affairs and women I've met, except for logistics. I'll say this: post 20s and early 30s, every woman that I connected with and had an interaction with that became something was with me immediately, full force. Let's go. Like, do you feel the energy? Do you feel do you feel the brightness and the curiosity and the fun and the play and they were with me on the first night, barring logistics. Logistics would stop it, but they would. So I'm a different breed. Like I don't like the slow burn. And you would think, I'm writing romantic things in the Alabaster Girl, but man, I'm full of delight and like fun. It's fun. Am I describing it cleanly?
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It's brilliant, actually.
Style?
I mean, you recalibrated yourself a little bit, I think, by saying, look, if it wasn't for the logistics, like sometimes it might not actually be that first night. You mentioned logistics, you mentioned religion or morals as well. So I'm sensing that even if there is a hurdle or two, at least as a sense, as in spirit, there is a yes. Like,
Yes,
yes,
that's
I'm
what.
with you
It's not a
from the first
hesitation, or
night.
I got to get to know you
Even
more, or I'm not comfortable yet,
yeah,
or it takes me some time to warm up. I can't. That I can't abide. I want her to.
yeah.
I don't. I know she's been abused in the past. I know she's had trauma in the past. I know she's been neglected or rejected or hurt by men in the past. And I really, really, really love the idea that she says, "Okay, all those things happen to me, but I see you differently. I see that you will carry me and hold me and not take advantage and manipulate." That to me is like my love language. I want to know that she trusts me completely. And like I said, nothing really has to happen, but the implied yes is there. You above all.
Okay.
Other men, no, they'll have to date me 3 times. I'm not comfortable. I have to get to know them. I have to see if they're sincere. But you, I implicitly trust immediately. I give that gift to you. That's what I want. That to me is my love language.
So a woman could say that to you and then say, "But look, I have to go in this taxi and take my sister home, and I've got a exam at 8 a.m.
Or
tomorrow,
I'm
and
not
it
feeling
just
fresh
has to
today
be
or whatever.
tomorrow."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
So that's
No problem.
acceptable. That's acceptable to you, but it's the sense of instant, very fast trust. Like, yes, I get that you see me. I see you that you see me. But this is, it
Yes.
sounds like once you have got an affirmation of almost an absolute trust, very quickly, you're like, this is a thing. This gives me all what I need. I'm ready to go. This is great. This is the kind of girl I want.
Just like anything I've ever said in the past, Jordan, it's not the actual fruition. It's the
Yeah.
two of you in the secret garden together. That so I can meet a woman and I know that it's quote unquote on. To me, that's it. That's code complete. I can go, look in the mirror and say, wow, that she had to leave, never see again.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, I felt that, and to me, that's contained already.
So this brings up a really, really huge question, because I think almost all of us grow up in cultures where we have a belief that trust needs to be earned, and that
Yes.
trust between two strangers or two people meeting each other, and two people meeting, especially when there's attraction or something at stake, trust is often seen as this slowly, upwardly, very slowly accruing kind of resource that at some point might be firm enough that a woman trusts you, or goes home with you, or wants to reveal herself to you. You're talking about
Yeah.
instant trust, like 1 hour trust, 2 hour trust. This is quite revelatory, I think, for how most people conceive of dating, both men and women. It
Well,
takes
this is why I
time to
don't
build
date.
trust.
There's a subset of men that don't date. Like I can think of a few here. I won't name them, but the date in the traditional sense is to let's get together and see if we have something in common, get to know each other, get to align our interests and see. And for me, I already know. That's how I feel. And I really like it when she already knows too. Then I really like her a lot. Then I think that's a great girl. As opposed to let's go on this tentative date and see if we have the same interest, music, and all that kind of stuff. I already know. I can feel I can sense it in the air. I can feel it in the electricity and the potentiality between us that this is already, barring logistics, barring she's married, barring whatever, it's already, she's 100% aligned with my type. And like I said in the book, she's my girl. I can feel she's already my girl. And I want her to feel that too. And I really like her if she feels that. There's something about that. I think that's cool. Now we can sneak together. Now we can sneak around together, like from the first jump, as opposed to going on a date, rapport, get to know you, amp the trust, amp the getting to know you, that kind of stuff. There's something in me that is with the Casanova energy, which I want to sneak in the window and say, hello, what's your name? Something in me that really is aligned with that. That's me personally. logistics and personal situations and stuff like that, no problem, because that's not the point. It's the virtual yes that's implied underneath it. Then I'm good. Doesn't have to actually have to go to fruition. But I want to know.
All right, so I get you full force on the. I immediately know, like I feel an energy. I feel my own desire. I get the energy of her, and I get why we totally make sense and why we would feel good. Like I have an intuition for my own taste and who she is and what that vibration is off the bat. Which is interesting because I think a lot of men, they want to scout some things out. They want to count up the red flags and the green flags. So there's some other things they want to find, which I think actually is totally well and good. If you're in a phase where you have you have to do your research a little bit and find the proposition of what you're getting into bed to. I think there's real intelligence in that.
Yeah, and also men.
That's not a process that you're going through, right?
Right, and I also don't have judgment in my heart, which means, and a lot of guys do, they will judge her if she's too available, too easy, they call it, and women know this, and so they I've been saying it for years. If women really knew that you had no judgment in you, that you never kiss and tell, that you're completely safe in all regards, and you would never tell anybody, and you don't judge them at all, like as being too easy, whatever, you'd be shocked what women would do. Like, you would be shocked if they really honestly knew that. Nobody's gonna know. My sister's not gonna know. My coworkers are not gonna know. Friends are gonna what? And most men will judge and say, "Well, come on, man, she's too easy. She's not wife material." That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous in my mind, because women underneath it all, for the right person or people, for the right man, is completely open, intimately, immediately. She would like to. I mean, she would, just like I would. So, it makes sense. A big part of it is that they don't want to be judged.
Let's do a little recap. So what I'm hearing is, as soon as you see her, basically, you know exactly that she's your type, your kind of girl. You have absolute clarity in your own attraction for her. You also, I'm assuming here from past conversation, you have real clarity about where you want to take her, what you want to do with her, what is next, the leadership thing. You have a plan of where you would take this woman, right?
Yes.
And the next thing that I'm hearing is what you're looking for more than anything else is that sense of recognition and absolute trust, which is she sees you. She knows the complete clarity that you're coming with. She sees your motivation. She sees that you're actually going to hold her safely. You're going to hold her heart dear with no judgment. She could have been through anything before. You're going to be safe. Actually, you talk about danger a lot, but also but you're going to be safe. It's weird how some men are dangerous safe in all the ways where they need to be dangerous, but dangerous in all the ways where they need to be safe. You've got the kind of actually the cultural norm the other way around, which is you're safe in the way that she needs to feel safe, but you're dangerous in the way that also there needs to be danger. So
yes,
I mean, these are some big pieces that our gentleman who asked the question might want to sit in and consider. I mean, like, to have this level of clarity from the first minute is, and to be on the lookout, to want to claim and elicit this kind of trust. Now, what is interesting to me, which is I think where we're different, is you seem to have no interest whatsoever in the let our imagination unfold and this simmering sense of anticipation and, waiting by the phone. And is this going to be the whole thing about the love story, which is, I think, actually such a psychological affair of wait those 2 days, the butterflies in the chest, the whole arc of meaning that one throws onto a romance, that you don't seem to have any time for that or any taste for it.
No, that's correct. I would say that is true. Like, it's like me sitting. That's true. Like, I'm and it's just my spirit and my nature. Like I'm full force into the wind, you know, and I want to know, and I want to jump, and I want to go treasure hunting. I'm a treasure hunter, and I want to, I get excited like a little boy. That's the concept I talked about, that guys go, huh? And women immediately get it. All women understand this. Guys go, I don't agree with that, or I'm not sure about that. The idea of the man who doesn't count. Most men have to go through this courtship dating ritual with women, and there's a certain subset of men, maybe 0.5% of men, that women go, not him. And women will understand this. They go, everybody else has to prove, or has to get me comfortable, or I have to warm up to it, or I have to, like, you know, learn intentions, etc. But him, that he doesn't count. He doesn't count. And this, when I say this to men, they go, what? They don't get it. There's men that just like get automatic. They're invited into the women's arms and hearts and stuff immediately, because they don't judge. Big quality. They're generous of spirit. They have gratitude, and they really like women. They really love women. That subset of men, it's just like delight. Women say, okay, well, that's the cookie jar, you know, the little boy in the cookie jar. Mom walks in and says, well, okay, you know, you're so cute, so you can have a cookie. Other guys have to, like, ask me for the cookie and wait till after supper, you know? So it's like, there's this concept of the man who doesn't count. Very few men will understand this, and all women. And it's that kind of feeling, like, the man who doesn't count is not a man who dates, which is a really counter thing to say. And people shouldn't listen to me. But it's a very real thing. And I don't know anybody's ever described it accurately or at all. Like, I think there's some men, when they hear, some men, like very small portion of men, go, wait, now I understand that, but not very many. And all women don't get it. They go, oh yeah, that's true. That doesn't count. You know, that doesn't. He's different. Well, that's just, if you ask him about it, say, well, why did you slept with that guy in the first night? Well, that's him. That didn't count. That's what they think.
Now, a lot of men might relate to what you say, in that they go out just for a couple of drinks and they meet someone in the bar and they have a really, really good 1 or 2 hours. And then at the end, she's like, I like you too, but I can't come home with you. I've got this thing on. And he will go home and he thinks, I've got her attraction. I've got her trust. She wants to see me again. And then he'll text her, and then another day, but actually her logistical obstacles actually will continue to surmount.
Yes.
And most men will stay on that. They will have that kind of bait in their throat, and they'll stay on that and be like, let the anticipation grow, and they'll grasp and they'll want, and then it will start becoming a mental thing.
Yeah. Now it becomes a burden.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting for that girl. I hope the girl, I'm sure the connection was real. Why isn't she texting back? And a lot of their psychic energy will be caught up in this thing. So is that not a thing that you go through? Or if it was, what changed?
Okay, so let me run through the two scenarios. The first guy meets a girl, or goes on a first date with her, for instance, and he has a great experience, and they get along together, and she's excited, and he can feel that she is excited. She laughed at his jokes. He can feel that she's saying, "I'd like to see you again," and he feels it's real.
To the point where he would say, "Listen, Zan, and I'm completely clear she's my kind of girl, and I made that clear, and I made it clear that I want her." And she threw her trust at me, and I was convinced that she trusted me in the way that you're talking about on this episode right now. And still.
And then they separate for whatever reason, and he makes a plan, or he tries to set up a plan for the second experience. And like you said, complications compound, obligations in the way, she doesn't respond. And now that quote unquote sexual tension that in slow burn that you described at the beginning of this morphs in the guy's mind to a detriment, and like, what's she thinking? And he gets in his head and thinks, oh no, like, maybe I should have done something different that first night, blah, 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 and it drifts away, and he starts to lose, and he still tries to figure out ways, what did he say or do differently. With the man who doesn't count, he knows immediately, and she knows immediately. Yeah, if I go near you and you come near me, it's on. So it's like that, and then you can be, it's like in that scene that we talked about in the movie Shame, where he's in the bar and he's just looking at the blonde girl, and she's listening to her friend, and he glances over. That's on. You can feel it. That's code complete. That's done. That's already done. The difference is logistics take you away. She said, I got to go meet my friends, whatever. Okay. But, in another time and place. And the difference is the man who doesn't count goes home, and then he tries to contact her again, and it doesn't work because of her complications and, et cetera. Instead of him building it up in his mind is this intractable thing of what, insurmountable thing that he's done or didn't do or said or didn't say, or something he could have adjusted differently, or she's losing interest. Even the idea that she's losing interest, and, the man who doesn't count doesn't have that at all. He doesn't think, well, maybe she's losing interest. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. Maybe she wasn't connected. She didn't. He just thinks, oh, that sucks. I like that girl. Realistically.
I just had a memory. Yeah, I just had a memory which clarifies all this. So in Brazil, in the first week that we met, which was before you knew Deanna, we went out to this bar every night, right? Emporio Bar. We went there 6 nights of that week, and we'd all have our separate adventures and fumble around and try and get something would or will not happen. And there was one night you met somebody who was so stunning to you that you were absolutely kind of mesmerized and delighted. And you went down to the beach, and it was something like 6 a.m. This is after everyone else had gone to bed. You were telling us a story the next day.
Yeah.
You went down to the beach, and somehow she got away. She just got away.
Yes.
And you were like, damn, I lost that girl. She was beautiful, man. Like, kind of beyond any model or anything you could ever imagine an Ipanema. And she almost like someone got through your fingers. Like that first night conspiracy, it was on, all the rest of it. She got through. And I remember you coming in the next day, and you were in this haze of, wow, beautiful girl slipped through my fingers. Damn, I knew it was on, and she went. But here's the difference. Most guys would have actually, when she was at the point of slipping through, they would have got her Instagram or a WhatsApp or a whatever, right? They would have connected on the phone, and then she would have slipped through his fingers. And then he's like, well, at least I got her WhatsApp, or at least I got her Instagram. I got something. And they'll use that actually as a thread or a bait, but they're the ones that stay on the bait. Like getting her details is actually, you think you got her details, and that's bait with which you can fish her into you. But the fact that you got her details is a bait that keeps you stuck on a rope to her. And you didn't get her bait. You didn't get her name. You didn't get her number. You didn't get any information from her. She slips out of your fingers just as a pigeon evades the claws of a cat. Gone. And you're licking your wounds the next morning, but somehow in your spirit, you respawn. You're a new person with a new life. And 99% of other men I know actually would be like, wow, last night was amazing, beautiful. I'm a bit frustrated, but at least I've got her number. I can now psychologically invest a whole week or 2 weeks trying to get this girl back on the line. But you were like, she's completely gone back into nature from where she came. Nothing I can do about that. But admitting a complete letting go or a complete loss, freak of nature, I lost that one, actually allows you to come back to ground zero, where you can start again with something or someone new. You go out the same night, and then you meet somebody new.
Because... Go ahead.
Yes. So the next guy can't, because he's thinking about the Ipanema girl for the next week. Sorry. Yeah. What did you want to?
It's the girl from Ipanema, is right. No, go ahead. I want to finish your thought, because I have something to say.
I did. Yeah, okay. Sure. So you go ahead.
So the normal guy would get her Instagram or her contact information, and then use that as some kind of leverage to try and re-engage, which I didn't do. Or if he didn't get that, he would come home thinking for days, there's something I should have done differently or could have done differently or should have said differently. How did I screw that up? And they blame themselves and they get in their head. That was a singular experience for me. I remember the girl, and I met a lot of girls. I don't remember a lot of girls, but I remember her. And I was out till 5 or 6 in the morning till the light was coming up in Ipanema on the beach there, and she drifted away into like I said, into the ether, and I came back with the feeling, talking to you guys, say, guys, I saw a mirage, I saw an angel, I saw a real beauty, and she was, believe me, because I remember her still today. There's something about her just was really aligned with my whole archetype. And I remember talking to you guys about it, but I never had this feeling of loss. I had the feeling like, wow, I experienced something magnificent. So you don't go back to base zero where and I'll go try again. You go to a different sense of, I've seen some things. I've been impressed. So the next women you meet, I've been impressed. Who are you? Not dismissing, but just kind of like, you've touched the essence of something transcendent to you, and I really, and I'll tell this little anecdote about that. I remember that girl. I was finishing my book, The Alabaster Girl, and I remember I was flying from London to Vancouver, and the book was finished at the publisher. Editing all done. The editor in New York had gone through it all, and everything was all lined up. And I remembered that girl, and I thought I can't put this book out unless I write about that girl. So I wrote an essay, an Alabaster Girl piece about Brazil, about the girl in Brazil. And if you read it, that's the girl that I wrote about, was her, on the plane from London to Vancouver. I wrote it on the plane. One pass through, a singular draft. I didn't edit it at all. And everything else had been edited and gone over and stuff. Nobody saw it. And I had this passage, and I said, okay, before they hit publish, I've got to update the manuscript. And where do I stick it? And I stuck it in the pages of the book somewhere. And that essay about that girl from Ipanema is my favorite part of the book. It was one pass of writing through, and it's my favorite essay in the entire book. I think it's my favorite thing that I wrote about that Brazilian girl. And so it didn't have editing, whatever, but it's in the Alabaster Girl. But I remember that moment, but there was no sense of loss. There was more of a sense of, I saw something incredibly magnificent. I got to see that. So that whimsical love of life and love of experience is what spills over into, when you meet women, you think, I'm on this mystical journey. I'm trying to be on this mystical journey. And who are you? Are you part of that journey? And there's a recognition that the word recognition is you said earlier, which is a key word: recognition and trust. Those two things. I want women to recognize that I'm not looking at them. That I'm looking at them. I want them to trust me and to recognize who I am somehow. It's hard to describe. And I really don't like it I feel like I'm not connected to her. I just have nothing in common with her if she doesn't recognize me right away. So, but the girl from Brazil, man, that was, I still think about it. That was magnificent.
I bet she would love to know that she was a genuine mirage and muse. And actually, a guy could say to her, "You're so beautiful, I could write about you in my book," but you actually, maybe you said something like that, I don't know, but you actually did, and she was part of this adventure. Like, she, as a muse, she fueled, actually, for me, it's one of my favorite passages you wrote as well.
She was immortalized.
It's just
in
absolutely
those pages.
encapsulated.
I don't know her name. I just remember her scarf on the beach, Incredible.
So I get everything that you're saying, and I'm loving this conversation, what it's bringing up. I will claim a little point though for my thesis over here, which is the one that slipped through your grasp actually fuels something in your imagination that later becomes more, right? Somehow the obstacle in your way or her slipping through, you haven't forgotten her. Somehow in the psyche, she elevated into something, something beyond.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because what if it would have landed? Who knows? Obviously, like I'm a believer that if you look back over the course of your life, you would not change anything. You know what I'm saying? Like even though you don't know what's going forward, you would say, "Oh, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that happened." I'm with Deanna now, and maybe I'd be married to that Brazilian girl, but it wasn't meant to. If that could have happened, it would have happened. If I was supposed to meet that girl, it would have happened. So, nah, it's like, but she added. Imagine this, Jordan. That experience, that mystical girl in the morning glow, added to something that I have in my spirit, something that I wrote about, something I tried to capture in my writing, something I tried to describe to men. If they've never encountered a woman that you could call a muse or a just whatever in their life, if they've never come upon this alabaster girl type of feeling, then they're missing out. And because that's the whole point. The whole point is to seek that out and to try and discover it. It's why I do what I do.
I think one of the beautiful lessons in this whole story is how you turn the near miss rather than it being a source of frustration. You lick your
Yeah.
wounds immediately, and then you turn it into a sense of gratitude and a sense of art, which is okay. Didn't work out. You got away, but
well, let me say it this. This is important because in my 20s and early 30s, yes, I would have been like any other guy, thinking, "What could I have done? What? How could I have landed that? What's the matter with me? Why didn't I pull the trigger, or whatever?" The difference is in that experience and in my life, in the way I represent myself now. I never blame myself. Never. I never think, well, maybe I should have. I never blame myself. I just think, I was as full force as I could be. I don't blame myself, and I used to. I used to kick myself and beat myself. Look up in the mirror and say, "Why? What's the matter with you?" Because I don't. Because the difference is, I don't hesitate, and I don't. If I express, like, which I didn't do when I was younger because I was trying to be cool, and or nervous, or I thought, analytical and in my head, and insecure, so I wouldn't say anything. I'd see a pretty girl there, I would not say anything. Now I just I say what's on. I just express it, and so I can go away from Brazil thinking, I don't have this concept that I could have done something different or should have done. Oh, maybe we should have. I think that was a wonderful experience, and I did everything I can. And I can look in the mirror and go, you're sincere, you're good, something like that.
I feel an incredible calm in me when I know that I pulled the trigger, or that I pulled all the triggers that I could, and I spoke all the best truths as truly as I could. I spoke them all. I left nothing on the table. It doesn't actually matter what happens after that, because the feeling of getting it off is my own freedom. That's the best.
Yeah, what I said I wrote it in the book. The men have a measure of success. Did they get their phone number? Did they get the girl in bed, or they'd start to date her? And I said, that man who doesn't count, that embodied man, the man who loves women, his measure of success is closer to him. It's pulled in closer to his chest. In other words, did I show up? Did I say my truth to her? And I found out she's married, engaged, not interested, whatever. But did I represent myself and say, you know what? I think you're pretty, and I would like to see you again. No matter what she does with that tennis ball in her court, she hits it back, she walks off the court, leaves it sitting on the ground. No matter what happens, your measurement of success is, did I sincerely do that? Did I show up? And if you can say yes, it's as good as any man has ever done in history. Your result is beautiful. You got a wonderful result, which is I represented myself. Yes, she's married, engaged. I didn't know these things, and I find out. But did I show up as a man? Yes, I did. So you can look in the mirror and wink at yourself and say, "Yeah, you did it."
So I want to say a few things about my side of the fence, or my thesis, right, of teasing things out, like the elongated process of a romance. I sense there's an important distinction to make. One is, particularly in more mature men in our group, in our audience, and mature women as well, they will get the sense of there is a connection with her. Absolutely my right type of woman. I feel that there is a trust and attraction in me as well. We both know that it's on, but we choose, because of life circumstances or personal taste or whatever we feel is the right thing, we choose actually to slow it down, like slow sex, slow seduction.
Right. Yeah.
Let's elongate the pleasure that we have. We both know where it's going to go, but we want to actually abide in the anticipation a little bit. Plus, we're busy people. Maybe we've got families that we're running and all the rest of it. So I think there's some good ways that you can slow this whole process down with a sense of security, enjoyment, pleasure, confidence. However, I think what happens with a lot of men when seduction is slowed down because it hits a barrier or an obstacle, or she starts getting a little bit tentative and you start getting a little bit keen or pushy or leaning in, that more often than not turns into a romantic torture, where your well-being is at stake, where you're second guessing all the time, where you go really into your head and you start asking us a whole bunch of questions like, what should I do? And overanalyzing all, and there you know you're in some kind of anxious cycle about this whole thing, and you're really wrapped up. It's difficult from that point on to put your best step forward, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And this can kick off the pattern of limerence, which is, God, I've fallen in love with this woman and she's available and she's not available, and you spend all your time obsessing and thinking about her and how you can get up. So it's potentially actually cataclysmic to not have an instant fast connection and something happening, because the psychological spiral that we can fall into can be so painful.
Yeah, I mean, like there's three paths that you kind of described, which is the first path is you start to head down the road with a woman and you're not sure. You want to do the dates and you want to do this kind of stuff, and you're not sure if you could have done or said something different. Then your second path, which is aligned with what you're talking about, is you do feel that sense of trust and abiding attraction, but you like to steep in the mystique of it all and build the tension and have that glow between the two of you, right? Prolonged glow, which is a chosen thing. The first guy's not choosing nothing. He's just like he's flying about and doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he's
right?
stuck in that because he didn't fully pull the trigger, or
That's right.
He's caught himself on his own bait, right. And actually he should have missed the Instagram handle and not been stuck on his own attachment. Right. Actually, even though he came within a whisper, even though it was a valiant effort, something remains. Yeah,
better than what he used to do, which is not talking to him at all, right?
Oh yeah.
So that first guy, and then there's the chosen, the conscientious dater, or I guess you could say, or romancer. Conscientious objector. Conscientious acceptor. So the conscientious,
yeah, the connoisseur of a prolonged steeping.
And because there's something that is fulfilling in that, and something wonderful in that, and something that builds anticipation in that. And I think that a lot of men would really like that idea and that path. And I was going to say this, maybe I should be more like that, but no. That's too like, I don't want to do that.
You'd have to go to eye gazing retreats and all the rest of it. Yeah.
No, wait. you know?
Well, I'm siding with the more kind of patient, enjoying the anticipation. I'm like, why am I enjoying this? Right, I can just go, right? Like, why hang out in this? I love your picture of an alternative. So the question I want to ask really in all of this is that sense of, when I say that sometimes a great love affair can, like a transformational love affair can happen when there's a big fat obstacle in the way and you're sat in this limerent thing all the time, is because that there's such a lot of emotional intensity that can build up. It ends up, if that love ends up being requited, the feeling of it is enormous. It's like a bomb goes off after waiting for months for your lover to then show up. But this is just such a small chance that actually kicks off. In most people, she'll never come back to you. And then you've got to deal with the fact that you fell so much in love and really lost yourself over a glimmer of a chance. So that can be really, really actually transformational. But the other thing that tends to happen more is a guy gets exactly what you're describing, which he goes out to a bar and he's feeling good and he chats away and he meets somebody, and she gets completely caught up in his energy, and he sees that and he takes her home. And you think this could be everything you're talking about, right? It could be the start of something beautiful. And he gets up the next day and he's not feeling it. In fact, what he's now doing is getting back on the apps or trying to talk to other girls that he hasn't slept with yet, to continue in a different direction, and quickly discards the woman that he had. Like the bird in the hand is just like, oh, I don't want to be around her, or like, she's still in my apartment when I woke up in the morning, or there's a whole bunch of excuses. But what do you have to say about those guys, the men that you know who have the great thing, they have the seeds of the great thing that you love so much, but then they turn their own faces away from it?
I think that they don't have empathy and care. That's what it is. Because if a woman slept with me in the first night that I met her, and I wasn't going to go down the path with her because, whatever, I really like her a lot. I really think I really have a lot of care for her, and I want her to have a good experience, and I want her to remember the moment with me as something something memorable as opposed to something she regrets, I guess you could say. And so I don't have this, I don't ever have this feeling like, well, okay, well, that was, convinced her to do that. Now, how do I get her out of my apartment? I don't have that. I'm, and I'm also not feeding her illusion that I'm going to be boyfriend or husband for her. I'm not that guy. So, but I really, really like her a lot. And I think that's a good person, because she opened up and trusted me with her body, her mind, her spirit, believing, not just hoping, but believing that I'm not going to take advantage of that or use her or manipulate her. And the knowledge that she expressed herself with me that night like that, I really like her. So I really want to have care and concern for her, like not pity. I'm not talking about that. But she said you really like her, and I want you to feel that was a great experience. Casanova had that. He would, meet all these 18-year-old girls as he traveled to the cities, and he really liked her. He didn't know, and he wanted her to have a good experience, so he'd find her a husband before he could leave town. He'd try and find somebody for her because he really wanted her to have a good experience in life. He cared about her. And I think guys that just like have sex with a woman and go through all that motion, and then they just want to get rid of her, or okay, I hope she doesn't get the wrong impression. I think that it's why women do have lack of trust, and worry about being judged and stuff like that. And she gave you the greatest expression of herself. She trusted you. You mean, I'm not talking about an experience where you get drunk or just whatever, but she trusted you. And I can't imagine being that guy that says, okay, well, I got mine, and now how do I get rid of this chick? I don't know. I don't have that.
How how often do you see men who have that kind of attitude and then somehow change it as time goes on? Is it a common thing that a man will change his disposition to how he feels about, let's say, a first night love affair or a one night stand?
Maybe if they, yeah, yeah. I mean, like they either have these women that they're not completely attracted to, and they have sex with them, and they try and get rid of them, or they have fun with them, and it's good for both and whatever. Okay, or they find the one that they really want to have a relationship with, go down this path with, and now they're in their head, and now they're cautiously moving forward, etc. And screwing things up in their mind, and not sure what she's thinking, etc., etc. Those are the guys I deal with. Nobody calls me for coaching about, hey, I'm getting these one night stands, and what should I do to get rid of the girl? You get that question now and then, but the guys that call me for coaching are in a situation that they don't want to mess up, and they really like her, So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or,
So
as you said, and this is really important, they do actually sleep with the women that they're not quite attracted to for whatever motivation. And then it's like, things
right,
are
but
okay in the land of women, but I never find anyone that really,
yeah,
blows me away. And that's what I want.
exactly. I mean, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot, right? So this is interesting. Let me try and flesh this out a bit in my mind. There's an interest in her personality and her likes and her. This is what guys do on dates. They're trying to amplify and see if this alignment and if she's an interesting person, right? For me and for guys like me, I think the archetype of me, whatever that is, the scoundrel archetype, I only have that interest in her post intimacy. Then I really like her and I really want to know what motivates her and what she's excited about, do you understand?
Yeah, but there's a
Strange.
missing piece, which is you just said when I'm in a bar and I see her, I know instantly that she's a good girl for me. She's exactly my type. She's my girl. I know that. And now you're saying,
Yeah.
well, actually, I'm only interested in her mind and her view of things and her
No,
personality after I've
no,
slept
no,
with her.
no. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is now I will do that long, prolonged dance. I'm not doing it in the bar. Like I'm
Yes.
not going to do
Now
this
you
date.
have that conversation. Yeah.
Now I have this conversation. Now I want to sit with her and have breakfast with her and look at her and say, well, "Tell me about you. Who are you? This is fantastic." As opposed to doing it prior. I already want to do that because she's my girl. But you're in a bar, so I'm not going to date a girl in a bar and say, "Hey, so tell me about your hopes and dreams."
Okay. So you already could, or you are already interested, but you
Yeah,
won't do that until after you've been intimate.
yeah, because now I have time and we're
Yeah.
together and now we're going for the walk in the park. That now I'll go for
Yeah.
walks in the
Okay.
park. I'm not going to go
Okay.
for a walk
Okay.
in the park. I don't go for a walk in the park to date a woman. What am I going to do there? Talk about what? The ducks?
Hmm.
I you know. But
Then it's
after,
clear.
yeah, I'll walk in the park all day. Let's go. Who are you? Like, tell me more. What are you excited about?
Yeah, because when you see a girl that you like in a bar, you like her not just because she's physically hot, but that there's a vibration there that has a
Absolutely.
particular frequency to
Yeah,
it, and you can tell you whatever she looks like, however she's dressed, she carries the trace of the things that she values and that she thinks. There is a spirit actually that you feel. So it's both the way she looks, her dress,
yes,
her hair, her body, her curve, the way she moves, the physical side. But there is also this more spiritual side. You feel that on the
100%.
first glance. Okay,
Yeah.
good, 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 good.
I can
But
tell
you only
she would
figure
be a
out
lot.
what the spiritual, what that vibration, that essence is. You figure that out later. Oh, by the way, this is my favorite band. I kind
Yeah,
of
that's
sense
an
so
important
much. Yeah.
distinction, Jordan. That's important because it isn't just because she's physically attracted. It's like there's an electrification that I feel emanating from her and emanating from me that is not with others. There's a nice girl with a nice body. She'd be fun in bed. I get that. But there's something about this one that it really, really catches my eye. And there's tables of girls around, for instance, and I'm with you. I can look at a table of girls and you can see, there's three of them there, three women, young women. And I can tell you, and it's not obvious to most men, but I can tell you which one would be the most fun in bed. I can tell just by looking at them. She'd be good in bed. That one, that'd be good in bed. That girl, right? And then there's those rare moments when where it all lines up, and like you said, the spiritual side of her, and the mischief side of her, and the storytelling side of her, and the adventure-seeking side of her, and her physicality, and her smile, and the way she's dressed, and the way she puts herself together, the way she moves with her friends. That one stands out to me. That there's something, that's 100%. 14 women in here. That's my girl. That one. She doesn't know it yet because she hasn't even seen me. But it's I can tell that's my girl. Yeah. If I go talk to her, it's on, Jordan. If I go talk to her, it's on. If I go talk to these three over here, we can convince them to party with us. Maybe have some fun. But if I talk to that one, it's on. There's something in me that just comes from experience, I guess, right?
There's a line that I put in my email this week, my newsletter, which I was told a few years ago. And the line was, "It's a good job that you told me that I liked you, because if you didn't tell me, I would never have known."
Yeah. There you go. Huh? So crazy,
There's a kind of a paranormal level of confidence in what attraction is and when you feel it. So I'm trying to connect back to the gentleman who asked this question at the beginning and see if there's any question left on the table. Anything you haven't said on this topic?
Not really, no. I just know moments in time, especially slightly older women, that when they start talking to me, so you're a blah blah blah, you do blah blah blah, or whatever. I tell them, listen, I can't. Maybe we should get some. Maybe we should have a coffee sometime. You know, she's a married woman, for instance. Maybe we should have a coffee sometime. I'm not going near you. I say it. I'm not going near you, and you know it. I know things that are happening. I know potential possibilities. I don't have to like wonder about it. And so I just announced it. I said, I'm not going near you at all. You're married. Get away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I can feel what's possible. And I laugh and say that. And it's not a trick. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be hard to get. No, I'm not going near you. Get away from me. I don't want to go down that path. Because I know it's on and she knows it's on. You can feel it in the air. And if guys ever tap into that, it's magnificent, man.
And by some force of magnetism, she can't help but just like lean in and see if you're available for that coffee.
Yeah.
Like just leaning in, try and
they've got to
open up and show my availability. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Non sequitur question to end things up. Have you ever played tennis?
Yes, I played a lot of tennis.
Oh.
Yeah. I like tennis.
Your game?
I played a lot of racquetball.
How did you play? What were the characteristics of your tennis game?
Oh, this so many years ago, and I missed tennis, but I don't know if I could pull it off anymore because I got a bit of a tennis elbow when I was young, you know, like first sight, whatever. Yeah. But I love tennis. Tennis is magnificent. I was never great, but I would go play with different friends that would play, and we'd take the court for a few hours, and I got pretty good at it. My style of play, I don't know. I ran around a lot, but my backhand was best.
Very telling. Your backhand.
Yeah, there was a Canadian a pro player named Pospisil. His last name is Pospisil, and he became #1 in Canada or something at some point. And I can tell people I beat him playing tennis. Every time I played him, I beat him because he was like 10 years old, 9 years old, and his father was a friend of mine. And he said, well, you want to come play tennis with us? And I'd go and I'd play with his kid. And his kid was all bored, didn't want to play. But I would occasionally beat him. I couldn't touch it. But yeah.
We had a good laugh in one of our groups recently about tennis, which some people, they look to win. You know, every stroke, every shot has to be a winning shot, you know, to blast past the opponent. Okay. And then some players, they play the percentages, which is I'll just hang at the back of the court and make sure I never make an error And if I never make an error, I'll
Oh, yeah.
actually end up accumulating more points and have a bigger chance of winning the game, even though my buddy is actually much more sharp and direct, and he's
Yeah, I never had that kind of
taking
like
the game.
thought. I didn't have a plan. I just played tennis.
Just got on the court and ran around. All right.
Yeah, and I liked it. Yeah.
Thanks for the episode. Thanks for watching and listening. And if you want more like this and be in our
might bring
community,
more questions up actually.
Yeah. Yeah, put them in the comments. And if you want to be part of this conversation ongoingly, check out the membership. Link is below. And if this is a message for you and you feel this very strongly, we'll be happy to have you.
And if you want to feel this energy for yourself and the subcommunications and that kind of stuff, I'm still at the recording of this. I'm still doing my live What Would Zan Do week-long events in Bucharest. I don't know how long I'll be doing them for, but I'm still doing it. So contact me, message me somehow, and if you're interested in it, and I'll let you know about that. I do it twice a year.
Okay, so you have a live event in Romania. You're going to take men through this live in the room
with women, so that I stand here and Jordan, my student, stands here with me, and we look at these two women and we practice approaching, we practice eye contact, we practice opening without saying a word. We practice the subtle art of touch over and over and over again with a small group of guys for an entire week until they get hammered in their system. So I've done it for a couple of years now, twice a year or so. And it's the best thing I've ever done because guys read my book for 3 times. They see my YouTube videos. They've seen everything. They've heard me talk about it. But when you see it in action in me, and when you see it, and when they feel it in action beside me, but you know what the strongest exercise I've done, Jordan, is I tell the guy, okay, you be the girl. You go over there and I'm going to approach you like I would in a bar or something like that. And when I do that, they go, now I get it. Now that's one of the strongest things I can do. Or I'll be the girl. Now, Jordan, you come approach me, like, do what I said, kind of like dance in, rock in sort of thing. And I can course correct. It's just magnificent. So I like doing it. It's a live event. I'm doing it again very soon. So,
and we'll throw the link in the comments as well. Yeah.
Okay.
See you next time.
Thanks, Jordan.